I'm styling my hair this morning and I wanted to chat to you guys about something that has made a huge difference in my life recently, and that is quitting sugar. For those of you that are new here, my name is Anna. I'm a 37-year-old mom of 4 and I have gone back to school to be a nutritionist. I've also had my own fair share of struggles with food and body image. I struggled for 15 years and recovered 6 years ago fully, so I'm really proud of that. And on that note, I just wanted to put a quick disclaimer at the start of this video. If you are struggling with the same kind of thing right now, or if you are in recovery, you might want to consider skipping this video. I feel a real sense of responsibility and I never want to put out any information that is not safe. I personally had to go all in with my recovery, and I would never recommend this sort of thing to anyone who was not at a really good place with food and body image. I feel like it's just a place that you need to get to before you can make changes like the ones that I'm going to be talking about in this video. Firstly, let's get into the why. So the main reason why I ultimately decided to quit sugar was actually related to skincare. You guys know that I am obsessed with all things skin, especially since hitting 30. And in all the research that I ever did about skincare and beauty and anti-aging, sugar came up as the #1 enemy every single time. This paired up with all of the knowledge I was gaining from being at school and the negative effects of sugar and what it does to your liver, what it does to your body, not just your skin, but on the inside too, just really made me feel a certain type of way. And honestly, it's like what my lecturer always says, once you see something, you can't unsee it. The more I was learning about the negative effects of sugar, the harder it was for me to turn a blind eye. That is the honest truth. Anyone who knows me knows that I am really balanced when it comes to these kinds of things. I don't like to demonize any food groups or demonize any food in general. I just instinctively wanted to do this for myself, for my body, for my health, for my skin, everything. Another thing I didn't realize was how much of a sugar addict I actually was. I've always had a sweet tooth. You know, it's always been my thing. I loved sugar. I loved cupcakes. I loved cakes. I loved pastries, bread, donuts. Having said that, I also always ate primarily healthy. I think it was just how I was raised. I used to eat healthy all day, and then I'd always have a little sweet treat, usually in the afternoon, because that was when my blood sugar dipped. And I would get this very prominent low where I would almost feel, well, I would feel quite lethargic, and I always needed to pick me up with a coffee and a cake. I did not know that by feeding this habit, it was actually keeping the cycle alive. And so I would always do it, like every single day. It was my sweet treat and my coffee. And I didn't realize how this was actually wreaking havoc with my blood sugar. And it was keeping me stuck in this constant, tired, fatigued cycle. Every single time of the month, I would get these hormonal breakouts, and this is something that I'd been dealing with since I was a teenager, and I felt like 37 was kind of too old for this now. Like, really, can I not have a break? So that was mega frustrating. I had tried giving up dairy in the past. I tried all of these different things. None of them worked because I was still hooked on sugar. I just want to reiterate that this whole journey with giving up sugar has never been about restriction for me. It's always come from a place of healing and just wanting to feel better. So what led to me finally making the decision to quit sugar? So it was Christmas. I'm half Italian, and at Christmas we always eat copious amounts of panettone, pandoro, all those kinds of sweet treats and things. And we have them for breakfast. Like, that's an Italian thing, is that you eat sweets for breakfast, which now I've learned is such a bad habit. But anyway, I've been on that train like I have my whole life. At Christmas, you know, you're indulging a bit more. But what I was really noticing is having that amount of sugar early in the morning was causing my blood sugar to be so out of whack. And I was just craving sugar all day, every day, compared to when I usually start the day with a more savory breakfast or like a more protein heavy breakfast. I didn't get these kinds of cravings. The proof was in the pudding, literally, because I was able to decipher between the two different days. Like, if I had a healthy breakfast, which was normally year round, versus at Christmas when I was having panettone or pandoro for breakfast, I was just feeling honestly really, really crappy all day long just because of that breakfast choice. So I decided, I think it was like the 27th of December or something. I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this quitting sugar thing. By that stage, I was so sick of it too that I just wanted to try it. I did not set myself really strict rules or anything like that. I just basically said to myself, I'm going to do my best to cut out processed sugar. You know, you see a lot of people on here talking about quitting sugar and they give up a lot of things, including fruit. I didn't give up fruit. I felt like fruit was still okay. I personally believe that fruit is healthy for you and has lots of benefits. I know that certain fruits contain a lot more sugar, but I do think in the grand scheme of things, if you're cutting out processed sugar, that's the first step. So I didn't really put any strict rules or regulations around it. I just said to myself, okay, I'm gonna do my best to cut out processed sugar and just to kind of limit the amount of sweet treats that I have. I will not lie, the first few days were difficult, especially coming down from that sugar high of Christmas. I knew I could do it because I had kind of been moving in that direction ever since I started my course, to be honest, because of the things I was learning. So I knew I had been there before and I knew I'd get to it, if that makes sense. I think if you're quitting cold turkey and going from having a lot of sugar, you will probably experience things like headaches, fatigue. And I don't think I had headaches. I definitely was tired in the first week. I felt like I was craving sweets more, but I put into practice a couple of strategies that really helped. So here is the nitty gritty of how I did it. The simple hack to quitting sugar, which I believe truly works and is the reason why you will be successful, is to never let yourself get hungry. That is the key right there. Instead, I subbed with healthy snacks. So things like nuts. I did have some fruit. I also had a little bit of dried fruit. I know that's controversial because some people say that's really high in sugar. If you balance it well with other foods, like with nuts or with protein, I think it's just fine. Also, hard-boiled eggs were my best friend. I did protein shakes, Greek yogurt with berries, and some almond butter or peanut butter saved my life so many times. Basically, anywhere you can get protein or fat, you're winning, because those things will keep you full and satisfied, and it will keep you from feeling those sweet cravings, because eventually they go away. I know it sounds insane, and trust me, you're talking to, or you're listening to, a girl who had the sweetest tooth known to man. I loved sweets, like I said in the beginning of this video, and I used to watch other people on social media talk about how they quit sugar, how their cravings went away, and how their taste buds changed. And I honestly thought they were lying. I thought there's no way they're telling the truth, but I'm here to tell you that it is true. It is fact. I now walk into, I would say after about a week or two, maybe 2 weeks, I could go into a bakery or any kind of a pastry shop or anything like that and honestly not want a thing. I think if you fuel yourself properly and you don't let yourself get hungry, you just don't want those things anymore. And that's what happened to me. I'm not saying that this will happen to everybody, but from what I've seen and from what I've heard, the stories are pretty similar. And I do think that naturally your taste buds do change and you start to have a more savory tooth than a sweet tooth. And I never thought that would happen to me, but it did. Also, things that you used to really enjoy that were very sweet will taste kind of sickly sweet to you. Like, I remember one time I went to meet my friend for a coffee, and this was a few weeks in, and I decided, because like I said, I wasn't super strict, and I decided to get an almond croissant, which was one of my favorite things to get. So I got it, didn't think anything of it, and then I ate it, and that whole rest of the day, I felt terrible. I had a tummy ache. It didn't even taste that great. It was so unbearably sweet to me. I just didn't even really enjoy it. And I am sitting here as a person who never thought I would say those words. Like, never ever. Let's talk about the benefits that happened. Okay. So first thing, clearer skin, for sure. This has been a game changer for my skin. My skin has never looked better. I feel like whether it's the products I'm using, the lifestyle, hydration, the lack of sugar. I feel like it all works together. Sleep probably too, but definitely quitting sugar, I did notice huge difference in my skin. I don't get the kinds of hormonal breakouts that I used to. I don't get those energy dips during the day as much. Like I'm not kind of going like this all the time. My moods are better. I feel more in control of my mood. I won't lie, I do always go a little bit insane coming up to that time of the month, but I'm not as bad as what I used to be when I was still consuming sugar. Let's just put it that way. Sleep. Okay, so I've got a cold right now, so I didn't sleep very well last night, but that is rare. I generally will go to sleep and sleep the whole night through from 9 o'clock until 5 a.m. That's my bedtime, that's my routine. And with quitting sugar, provided I don't drink too much water close to bedtime, I sleep the whole 8 hours and I sleep really, really well. Here's where I'm at 6 months later and what has become sustainable for me. So I still generally stay away from processed sugar in general. I do not have a sweet treat every single day like what I used to, but I may have one maybe once a week, maybe once every 2. It really varies because I don't crave it anymore. It really varies. Obviously, if I'm going to, you know, a birthday party or if it's a friend's birthday or family's birthday, I will, of course, I won't say no to a slice of cake, but only if I really, really want it. And that's been key. Like we have 2 birthdays really close together in our family. I had birthday cake one of the birthdays and then 10 days later I didn't, or maybe it was the other way around. I can't remember. Whichever one it was, I really didn't feel the need to have cake again 10 days later, you know? And that's something that I never could have said before. I would never pass up a slice of cake before, ever. So that's very different to me. In terms of how I approach this as a mom, raising a family with kids and all of that, I'm still very balanced as a mom. Like I don't restrict anything really within reason, of course. I encourage my kids to eat healthy snacks, but I also will never say no to, you know, if I bring them out to a cafe, they can have cake, they can have a muffin. They're kids at the end of the day. I ate sugar when I was a child and so did all my siblings. I feel like the world just doesn't work in black and white. And that way of thinking is just never really healthy. And I think people can get too bogged down with it all. Like I even see it in the comments sometimes. People are like, oh, I can't believe that you buy mayonnaise, or I can't believe that you buy white bread. And I'm like, I get it, you know, obviously we learn in nutrition school that these things are not ideal, but also there's gray areas. When you're raising kids, when you're raising a family, there's certain tastes, there's certain things that they will and won't accept, will and won't like. I personally feel like if their 3 main meals are healthy, then I'm doing a good job. I'm definitely not that mom that's super strict or restrictive, because I don't think that that really solves anything, especially when kids are young. Again, for me, this was my personal thing. It was my personal journey, and I had to be in the right place to fully go there. And not everybody is ready, and that's okay. You might be watching this video and thinking, there's no way I'm giving up sugar. That's absolutely fine. I'm not here to change anyone's mind. Trust me, I have been there. I've been at every different stage, and every stage is valid and every stage is beautiful. So please don't judge yourself based on me, certainly not me or anybody else that you see on the internet, because every situation is different and everyone's timing is different. I also feel like with nutrition, it's not about being perfect, it's about being sustainable. And if it's something that you can see yourself doing long term, then that's a good fit for you. If not, then I wouldn't even go there. I'm just speaking from experience of my journey, and maybe if this is something that you're interested in, it will speak to you, and if not, that's absolutely fine too. I also felt it was important to note that I did not lose a fraction of a pound by quitting sugar. So in case you were wondering, because I know some of you were, how much weight did you lose? Absolutely 0. And that wasn't the goal. That's the thing. I made sure the whole time that I was nourishing myself properly, because I don't really have a goal to lose weight. Like I said in the video, I'm not here to change anyone's mind. I'm not the sugar police, and I definitely have a very balanced approach when it comes to nutrition. If you've been thinking about cutting back on sugar, maybe take this as your sign. Yes, it's difficult in the beginning, but I would say after about 2 weeks, you're plain sailing and it's so worth it. And maybe this video will encourage you guys to go at it from a different standpoint that is less restrictive and more holistic and based around your health and feeling good. So I hope that this video encouraged you in some way. Let me know if you have your own journey that you've been following down below. I really would love to hear from you guys because I know that everybody is on their own personal journey and I find it so fascinating hearing your stories. So let me know in the comments what your experience has been, if you've given up sugar, if you've ever tried before, what's worked, what hasn't, your side effects, the benefits that you've seen from it. Don't forget to subscribe. I've got new videos coming out twice a week and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.